Hi, I'm Elizabeth Bartasius with the Empowered Women's Circle, and today we're speaking with the fabulous Kate Maloney, one of the most amazing women that I have ever met. And we're going to talk about new conversations around money. And I'm very, very excited to speak with Kate because of all the people that I know, she has, in my opinion, the coolest conversations about money ever. So,
Mhm.
Kate, thank you for being with us today. And I want to start out by asking you, did you always have did you always have a financial a conversation about abundance? You know, was it always were you did you always feel abundant and in financial abundance?
Um, Interesting. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be chatting with you today. And did I always have a conversation of abundance? Not necessarily, actually. I mean, I grew up in a kind of a fairly middle class family, and we were comfortable and we were well off in the sense that life was taken care of. Um, but I wouldn't say I necessarily grew up in a family where the conversation was around abundance. However, I do remember at a fairly young age having the sense of like that I was sort of built for abundance. So while it wasn't necessarily a conversation that it passed down to me or a conversation I inherited from my family system, it was one that I sort of had an inkling of, and that there was a certain allure to and attraction to. So yeah, so the answer would be no, not always. I think it's something that it felt like there was a pull that I had towards it, and something that I really cultivated over time.
And how did you cultivate it? What were some of the things that you did?
Um, well, I think the first and most important thing I did around it was just my spiritual and transformational work. Really anything in my experience that gets in the way of abundance isn't necessarily about, conversations around money or finance per se, but it's about our relationship to the universe. It's about our relationship to ourselves. It's about our relationship to what it means to fundamentally be alive in this life. So early on, my spiritual and transformational path began early on when I was in high school, and as I began to dive into that whole arena and deal with and undo any sort of challenges that I had around, what my relationship was to life, what my relationship was to spirit and to the divine. That's when it began to crack open. Was kind of a deeper layer of one of what is fundamental in all of life is abundance. What is fundamental in all of life is prosperity.
So it sounds like you're not even looking at money, like specifically at money, or conversations around money. It's just this in bigger picture of life and abundance as a whole human being.
Yeah, if I understood what your statement was, is that that's where it started, was in that work, was in my spiritual and
Right.
transformational work. But as that began to undo, what was naturally there was conversations around money and finance, contribution, power, making a difference, value, all of those things. So that, from the shoulders of that, it began to unlock, like, okay, great, I've done sort of this spiritual and transformational work. Now my life is a vehicle for something. For what? And for me, that path led to, in many ways, the path of prosperity, of abundance. And as a scoreboard, I'll say, for the contribution and difference I was making in the world. So for me, that was, I learned fairly early on that, like, money is just energy. And money is like love. It's like, you don't hoard love, you don't hold on to it, you can't protect your love, all of that. Really, love and money are both just energy sources. And the more that you love, the more that you give love, the more capacity you have to receive love. And so it was, how do I continue to expand my capacity for the energy of love, for the energy of money, for the energy of, all kinds of things.
Oh, I love it. That's really great. So let me ask you this now. So I know that you've, you've built a successful company and you've done very well financially as well, but it wasn't always like that. And there were times when it got, well, and what some might say rough, right? There wasn't a lot of money. What did you do in those times? How did you, when confronted with maybe when you didn't have access to money at that moment, or when it didn't seem like it was available, what did you do in those moments to keep that energy up?
Mm.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
asking
good
you?
question. I do. I do. Well, I think one of the things that was really distinct for me is that money is actually different than abundance and prosperity. In some, I'll say money is different than abundance. We'll put it in those terms. Um, and that, even when I didn't have any money, I was really clear that I was living a very abundant life.